We got an incredible first look at gameplay for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This was definitely the trailer I loved the most at the Game Awards, so let's discuss everything we learned from it, including 2 new combat styles, way more options for traversal and exploration, and a potential companion for us to fight with. If you are also hyped for Jedi Survivor and enjoy the content here on the channel, then leave a like to help us out, subscribe for way more videos on the game, and let's go. And by the way, we just started a giveaway for Jedi Survivor. They also announced the release date, which is the 17th of March 2023 on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, so really soon. If you want to enter, check the link in the pinned comment and make sure you are a subscriber of the channel before entering. Good luck! So while the new gameplay trailer was only 2 minutes long, we got a first glimpse of a lot of new features in the game. The most exciting are of course the additions to combat, and we've now seen 2 new styles of lightsaber being used by Cal. First is in this fight against a bounty hunter where he just casually whips out a second saber to continue his attack. Now remember that in Fallen Order we did have a split saber already, but we're only able to use 2 sabers for very specific attacks. But now it looks like it's been upgraded to a fully fledged combat style. We can even see Cal running around and deflecting blaster bolts with both sabers, which seems to protect both his front and back. So yeah, amazing we get to use this style on top of the single saber and the dual bladed saber that also makes its return. But on top of that, we are also getting a 4th lightsaber variant, as at the end of the trailer we can see Cal admiring a crossguard variant of his lightsaber. This type of saber is of course most associated with Kylo Ren, but it has actually existed for a very long time in the Star Wars universe. And it encourages a completely different style of fighting from the agile normal lightsaber, as we can see in the short clip of gameplay that Cal's swings seem much more heavy and impactful. So looking at what we have now, I think that our basic saber will be a good all-round style of fighting, with the dual-bladed saber of course best suited for dealing with groups of enemies. Then we have the split saber for some very rapid combos, and finally the crossguard saber as our slower but heavy damage option. And if the style switching attacks from Fallen Order also return so we can switch forms on the fly, I mean that's just speculation on my part, but it would be really awesome. And we will definitely need those new options in our arsenal, because the enemy variety has also seen some significant expansion. Mostly in terms of droids, which I think is great because that means we can just cut them to bits without Respawn having to worry about the H rating. We have both B1 and B2 variants of battle droids, a Magna Guard, and even a squad of commando droids showing up. Which is of course interesting, as those are all remnants of the Clone Wars, so we might come across these in parts of the galaxy not yet under the control of the Empire. But even they are bringing new droids which look a lot like a prototype version of the Dark Troopers we see in The Mandalorian. We also have a lot of new creatures like this charging monstrosity, or this creature that absolutely smacks the life out of Cal. It looks like a Wampa, except his fur is brown. Until we get an official name, I'm calling it a Swampa, and I can't wait to fight it. But not all creatures have to be fought this time around. Cal of course already demonstrated his affinity for animals in Fallen Order after taking care of the shield bird, but it looks like there will be a lot more creatures to befriend in Jedi Survivor. This adorable little buddy you find in a cave can be used as a mount, and there's even mounted combat in the game. Immediately after, we can see Cal hitching a lift on this pterodactyl-like creature, using him as some sort of glider as he slowly descends towards a nearby town. Now I don't know if we will befriend specific creatures and that the ones we just saw will always function as our mount and glider, or whether the game will have a system more similar to Horizon where you need to find and tame specific creatures if you want their help. Considering the fact that we are traveling from planet to planet, I think the latter is actually more likely, so I hope that means there are different mounts and other animals for us to find. But even without help, Cal's abilities for traversing levels have been greatly expanded. I'm assuming we get all our abilities from Fallen Order straight out of the gate, like wall running and double jumping, but the trailer also showed some new skills too. For starters, next to our double jump, we seem to have access to an air dash, which we can see is immediately followed up by a grappling hook. Both of these will greatly increase our aerial mobility, which means there's a lot more room for fun and creative platforming sections. Something the first game also tried, but there was definitely some room for improvement there. We are also able to quickly descend from a wall using our lightsaber, which looks both very useful and really badass. And while all those individual new moves and abilities are awesome, I think what's even more important is what they mean for the bigger picture. Jordan already mentioned this in our previous video, but the game looks to encourage exploration a lot more than Fallen Order. pre-order did. Again, the Steam blurb notes with larger areas to explore and more to discover off the beaten path, players who adventure beyond the horizon will find hidden rewards. And thanks to the trailer, we can see what exactly they mean by that. The larger areas are apparently so large that we need mounts and gliders for traversal, and the hidden rewards off the beaten path will be a lot more fun to get to thanks to all the new additions to traversal and combat. And we shouldn't forget our force powers either, as we will be getting new abilities in that department. From the trailer, I was mostly able to spot new uses for old tricks, like the fact that Cal is now able to slow time around him instead of slowing time in an area around an enemy, which is still a very cool and useful trick. The same with force pull, which we were also able to use in the previous game to drag stormtroopers towards us, but now we can make them use their own weapons against each other, as this heavy assault trooper mows down his buddies and then gets slashed in the back by Cal. I think the only new power I was able to spot was this very short clip of Cal lifting 2 troopers off the ground. Since the clip is cut short, we don't know what happens after, but I hope we get to slam them back to the ground to knock them out. So while the trailer already showed us a ton of new stuff, there's also a ton we haven't seen yet or still know very little about. Those new force powers are one of them. I'm still holding out hope for some dark side powers too, but we also didn't see Cal's blaster in action, well, especially now with the pre-order bonuses, we know these are going to be a customizable weapon type just like our saber. And another thing that I was not expecting, but the trailer certainly seems to hint at, is combat companions. Because at one point we see Cal teaming up for a takedown with this new character named Bode. The official Star Wars website has his last name as Acuna, and he's looking like quite a capable fighter. He's seen hauling Cal back up after a fall and also wields dual blasters, and I think that might be a jump pack on his back. But yeah, what mostly intrigued me is the fact that he can be seen during an in-game fight helping Cal out. There's also definitely a longer standing relationship between these two, as after Cal thanks him, Bode responds with "part of the job, Kestis," implying that they've been at this for a while. It might be that Bode gets his introduction in Jedi Battle Scars, a book that is set to take place between the events of Fallen Order and Survivor and is due March 7th of next year. And then there's of course the mysterious character in the Bacta tank who is also shown at the end of the previous trailer we got for the game. They actually speak now, claiming that the Order is gone and that they are betrayed by the one they trusted most, which makes it very likely that they were at one point part of the Jedi Order. The mention of betrayal here makes me believe that their former master turned to the dark side and is probably an Inquisitor now. I am still very curious about who or what this is though, like why are they missing an arm, what's up with the weird markings on the skin, and why is the entire room overgrown by some venom-like corruption? It's all very mysterious, and I think this will be one of the major plot points in the game. Which also leads me to believe that this ominous guy with the fancy robes is one of our main antagonists. We don't get much out of him, he only says that the Jedi is a threat, likely referring to Cal, while he's talking to one of the bounty hunters we see assault Cal earlier in the trailer. But then he ends with, "But now we have this," with a mysterious object in his hand that he obviously believes will turn the tides. And I'll save you the speculation as to what it is, as Cal can be seen using the same object to open the cage around the Bacta tank in the beginning of the trailer. It looks a little bit different, I think the top part has opened up because it's activated or something, but it definitely looks like the same object. So that means it must be either a key or a compass to finding this mysterious person. Which also means Cal's not the only one after them, and yeah, that probably can't be good. There are way more interesting details in the trailer that we haven't even discussed, like this guy using a lightsaber that is very similar to Cal, so let us know if you've spotted anything interesting in the comments. We will totally bring you more news, so subscribe for more Jedi Survivor videos, leave a like on this one if you enjoyed it, and if you want, you can watch our previous video where we go over a lot of now confirmed info regarding the pre-order bonuses for the game. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.